Hey guys, how y'all doing? Getting the microphone up here going to be able to do a proper record. I am so excited to get out here. This is kind of going to be episode 1 of hopefully many more to come. The subject that I'm kind of going after is truth harvesting. What is truth? How does it apply to you, and how does it apply to me? Yeah, that's a tough question. You know, when you look up what is truth, there's so many different people that have so many different things. You know, what is it? What does it mean to them? Um, the actual definition truth is what matches reality. If that statement aligns with the way the world actually is it true? Something I just, when I was just looking up a little information on what is truth. Truth is something that matches up to reality. The problem that I see in today's society is we don't even know what reality is anymore. We have so many made up theories, we have so many made up lines, uh, whether it's in the world that we're in today, whether it's in the jobs that we have, whether it's in the religion that you're a part of. Every single one of them have their version of a truth. And the hard part is how do we know that someone else's truth is not our truth? How do we know that our truth is the right truth? And this can take us down some dark holes, and it can take us into some very amazing points of light. For me, well, let me give you just a little background. Who I am, what am I? My name is Nathan, of course, and I'm a father, a husband, brother, son, and I kind of started my journey back in 2012, trying to decide what is truth. And it started in my faith, trying to find out what it is that makes my faith real. I'll never forget the defining moment that actually led me down an interesting trail. Growing up as a church going Christian boy, become a church going Christian man. It was in 2012 outside of Branson, Missouri. They had just had a crazy tornado that had came through there, and that tornado had devastated a lot of businesses and lives in that area, which had never happened like that before. And the tornado didn't. I mean, I dealt with storms. I'd been what they call I'd worked with storms as far as doing adjuster type stuff. I'd been in the construction world. I'd worked in the auto industry and dealt with catastrophic stuff in the past. But I was sitting with an adjuster on a roof, kind of in Branson on the strip. And this adjuster asked me a question that I thought was kind of weird from a business standpoint, but even a Christian standpoint, because I never, ever, ever once thought about it. And that question is, hey, are you a pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib guy? Now, for those of you that aren't into what I call Christianese, what that means is, do you believe that Jesus is going to return before the judgment starts, in the middle of the judgment, or after the judgment? Growing up in my Southern Baptist background and in the church that I was in, I'd always been a preacher of, hey, there's going to be a rapture. We're going to be taken out of here, and we're not going to be a part of any of this thing. And so I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, that was the question that was asked me, and I thought that was so weird. Honestly, I was like, why are you even asking me this question? And it got me thinking like I've never thought before. Why do I believe what I believe? I knew a lot of stuff in my faith. I mean, I had a strong understanding. I'd been taught as a young man what I believed, and I believed what I believed. But I had never had someone point blank ask me that question. Why do you believe as a pre-trib? Because I always believed, hey, I'm going to be raptured out of here. I'm going to be taken out. It's all good. I'm good. I'm good to get out of here when the trouble starts. So I just kind of told us that, hey, I'm a pre-trib guy. Didn't even really think about it much, other than just the fact that he asked me that question. And his next statement took me down a very long road. Took me down a very long road. And he said, if God didn't take his people, the Israelites, out of Egypt when he brought the trials there, what makes you think he's going to take you out of this world? And that's all he said. And that opened Pandora's box in my life to start researching why I believed what I believed. And got me asking a lot of questions that, quite frankly, made me unpopular. I was already unpopular already, so I guess I shouldn't have to say I was about popularity. Um, but it made me question a lot of things. A lot of things. And it kind of got me start thinking, how can I make sure I'm doing what's right for my family and for me without being completely freaked out about everything? How can I be wise in the decisions that I make, be discerning, but also be cautious? Do I believe everything that's straight up told me? Or am I just doubting everything as well? I mean, I think there are certain things that what I would call common sense things. And then there are things that, is this truth? And does this truth matter? Um, Pulling up a passage in scripture, I'm part of this channel. You'll see me refer a lot to the Bible, and the reason that is because it's kind of a part of my core values of who I am, what I am, and it also kind of gives you kind of just a quick center value of who I am, because I'm always gonna go back to that. I'll go back to that and say, hey, what when someone wants to know where my core values are, they can automatically say, okay, well, he comes as a Bible guy. Yep, that's it. That's me. My faith is real. My faith is what makes me passionate, even more so. Um, have I been wrong? Yes, times 1,000. Yes, times 1,000. But but my passion and goal is to seek out the truth. Passage that I like to say is in John 8:30, truth. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. It's tough when having these discussions about what is truth, how is truth, because um, as a father and a husband, it's like, how do I tell the truth to young minds if I think that truth is going to hurt them? And even in the situation with my spouse, how do I tell that truth to them knowing it's going to hurt them? And I've made the mistake and have continued to make the mistake of sometimes withholding the truth, thinking that, well, I don't want to hurt them. I don't really want to get them there, or I want to avoid the argument. I want to avoid the fight. Because if I really start telling them the truth, it's going to open up Pandora's box, kind of a thing. And yeah, that's hard. That's hard. It's hard for me as a man. I'm sure it'd be hard for you too, because sometimes what we think is trying to protect someone actually ends up hurting them in the long run. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that a lot. Because sometimes I feel like, well, if they truly know who I am, they're not going to like me. Or if I truly share my heart, I'm becoming very vulnerable. And that could hurt me big time. And that's hard. That's real hard to face that truth. Even as I'm saying that, it's welling up a bunch of emotions in me. I'm not trying to create an emotional channel to tap into your emotions and into mine, but sometimes being truthful means being raw, being real, and it's going to hurt. It's really going to hurt. Sometimes it's going to hurt you more than it hurts others. Wow, I didn't realize I was going to get this emotional here on the first launch of Harvesting Truth. My passion is to see people find the truth and to be set free. That's it. That's my goal with this channel. That's my goal in life. And what does that freedom look like? I'm going to show you kind of what it's starting to look like for me. And throughout this, I'm going to share a lot of stories. As long as it doesn't bother the people in my life too much. I'm going to share a lot of stories of my struggles and my victories. And I hope, and I pray it can help someone else out there. Whether it's another family, another man, another woman, another kid, I don't know. I might just do this and then have like 2 likes and 10 views. And the views weren't even completely watched because they're like, this guy's crazy. This guy's crazy. Um, Part of I'm going to eventually start inviting people to come on to this. I've got a little hobby farm in southern Missouri that is a part of the truth that I have been seeking. And as we go through this, you'll get to hear a little bit more. But I'll share let me just share just a little bit of my story, who I am, what I am. Come from a family of 10 kids. I was the oldest. I've got 4 kids now of my own. Um, I used to live in Kansas City, and then I moved to southern Missouri during the COVID years, and bought a farm to bring my kids out here to experience life in a different way. It's been fun, it's been hard, it's been exciting, it's been sad, um, all wrapped up into one thing. Uh, but as I started seeing the way things are going in our world, the way things are going in our lives, in our communities, I felt a huge draw to, hey, do this, get a farm. Teach your kids how to, if they had to, live off the land. I'm not a prepper. I mean, some of my close circle friends might say, oh, he's kind of a prepper dude. I've gone down that route before, guys, where I stockpiled up stuff like crazy, food, ammunition, you name it. I was stockpiling it up. And then I really just kind of got to thinking about that. I was like, man, if hard times hit, yeah, I want to be wise. I want to be prepared, but I also want to be able to share. I want to help people when they need help. I don't want to run away from the battle, so to speak. I want to run toward it and to help. And some people say, you move out to the country, you're going away, all the people are in the city. I get that. I get that. But I also want to make certain that I'm teaching my family how to think for themselves, how to make their faith, not my faith. Make Give them the ability to know what it means to raise chickens. I've heard people in circles of mine that talked about how they had kids in their group that didn't even know where eggs came from. I know that sounds weird. I know that sounds kind of weird, but there are people that honestly didn't know where eggs came from. Young kids, because they've never experienced that. I wanted my kids to experience that kind of life. I wanted them to step outside, turn off the video games, and see what life is all about and how to live it to the fullest. It doesn't have to be full of stuff. And it's funny because I hear people, especially after living now for 4 years in on the farm here. I hear people talk about all them city people. That's just all their stuff. But I go to some of these farms around me. Oh my gosh, guys, they have stuff. They have lots of stuff. Um, I went to an auction not too long ago, and the amount of junk that I saw in there that was this person's prized possession. He didn't get to take any of it with him. In fact, he didn't even have anybody to share it with him. To the point that they auctioned it off. They auctioned all his stuff off. And is that the legacy you want to leave? That's not the legacy I want to leave with my kids. I don't want someone to look back 5, 10, 20, 30 years after I'm gone, my grandkids, great grandkids, so on and so forth, and be like, Grandpa was a hermit, lived on his own, did absolutely nothing, helped nobody, just stockpiled and saved and saved and saved. Nothing ever happened. I was kind of getting into that mode myself when I lived in the city, of course, of all places. And went down into my basement. I mean, I had canned goods and all kinds of stuff. They've been sitting there for years. My wife and I were just sitting here looking at it, and she was like, we haven't done anything with this stuff. It's going to go bad if we just leave it here forever. Why don't we give it away? And we did. We gave it all away. And then we kind of changed our model. I think it's wise to prepare. We've seen these floods that have taken place. I mean, you could stockpile up everything you possibly can, and just like that, it's all gone. It could be a flood that just wipes it all out. It could be a fire. And then everything you've done is in vain. Everything. Or you could be prudent and say, you know what, I'm going to put a few things on my shelves and make sure I can feed my family if a storm happens, a tornado or a big flood, and I know I got a few groceries to give my family and maybe even help some of my neighbors out. But also, I've got some chickens. I got a few goats. I got a cow or two. I got some gardens. I can teach my children not to sit in a bread line waiting for food, but to go plant. Plant something that grows quickly and can give you some basic nutrition pretty quick. How to feed chickens and give them the right food to give you the best eggs you could ever eat. And if I had to butcher a chicken, how do you do that? I'm sure there's a lot of people, at least even in my own world, that don't even know how. I mean, I'm sure if you're really hungry, you're going to figure out a way to butcher a chicken if it needs some meat. But how many people don't even know how to hunt? I mean, you see back here, I got my bow here. I love to hunt. I do. I haven't done it a lot in the last couple of years. We might even talk about some of that on some of this channel as well. Some of my hunting experiences. Because when I would be out hunting, that is where some of the most raw and real truth just exploded in my mind. Because when the noise of the world has been shut off, sometimes you'd sit for hours and I might read or I would listen to something. And a part of my faith is just talk to God. And I know some people you might say, well, is that even really a real thing? Talk to God? Yeah, it is, guys. I've got to tell you, it's real in my life. It can be real in your life too. And that's something we'll discuss throughout this channel as well. But a lot of what I've done with my family in the prepping area was done out of fear at first. And now I've switched that and said, I'm going to do it out of faith and say, hey, what can I do that could help other people? I'm going to be prudent. I'm not just going to, you hear the old saying, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Give him a pole, you can feed him for life. And that's so true. That is so true. Funny story. My son, I'll be honest, I struggled taking my boys fishing. I enjoyed watching them fish, but a lot of times I felt like I was always baiting their hooks, taking the stuff off. Well, I wasn't taking off, we were mostly baiting hooks the whole time. And I never got to enjoy casting. Matter of fact, my wife and I had some friends one time. We were fishing at night, and I don't think I got to fish the whole night because I was helping everybody else get unsnagged or help it. Okay, you get that every once in a while, but if you had to do that every day it would suck the joy out of that. Sometimes you want to go fishing too, and so I was teaching my boys, and I said I'm going to teach them how to fish on their own. And now when we go fishing, I don't help them. They do it themselves. And I get to see the smile on their face when they catch that, when they reel in that big fish. And there's nothing more that excites this heart of this dad is to see his kids learning something that he taught them and being successful at it. It's cool. Got my drink. And so when you see those kind of things, those are the truths that can transform your life forever. And that's really what I want to focus on in this channel is what truths will transform your life. Not just they've transformed my life, and I want to see them transfer other people's lives as well to make a difference. And so yeah, so I was doing a lot of my prepping earlier in fear, not in faith. Um, and I completely shifted from fear to faith and saying, I'm going to trust God. I'm also going to be prudent. I'm going to research. I'm going to look up. And so I spend a lot of time listening to other media outlets. I tell a lot of people, if you're listening to the big ones, if you're listening to Fox, CNN, NBC, ABC, NBC, if you're listening to those and that's the only source of information you're getting from life, you're missing out. You are really missing out. It used to be, journalism would be, let's seek out the truth, not what is our channel's narrative. Whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, because I've seen some liberals have some amazing hearts, and I've seen some conservatives have some amazing hearts. I've seen some liberals be just downright and dirty, and I've seen some conservatives just be downright and dirty. So to sit there and say one political party is right and another one is wrong in everything, kind of premature. And so if something as simple as politics can be, you have to be careful what you listen to and what the narrative is being pushed. What else in life is being pushed down your throat, shoved down your throat, and told that that's truth? And so, because I tell you it's truth, you better listen, rather than saying, let's look this up, let's research this, let's dig, let's just get in there and just really dig. Let's be the person that asks the question, why? How many of you that are parents just absolutely hate it when your kid goes, why daddy, why mama, why? That's what we need to be like. We need to be asking the questions why, not in defiance, not in being like, I'm just going to ask questions why, just to be a jerk. No, but to ask the questions, why do we do this? What is the point of this? And to seek out the truth of that answer, because sometimes there's a great answer and sometimes we don't have an answer. My son, who loves to play basketball, one of the things his coach absolutely doesn't like is the word, I don't know. If a coach says, hey, why did you go do this? And they said, I don't know. How many times when you've asked the question, hey, why is this such and such a thing or this such and such a thing? And the question is, I don't know. That just, that'll just mess with my mind to the core because I don't want to know I don't know, or just because. Tell me why. Why do you believe what you believe? Why do you do what you do? Is it because it's something your parents always did? Is it because it's something that a pastor or a priest has told you to do? Is it because someone that you really respect has just told you to do it and you have taken it and said, I will just do whatever? Or did you ask the question? Did you feel that feeling in your heart that said something's not right, or that seems to that seems, something seems to be true about that? I want to look into that. And that's really what I want to focus this channel on. As we go, I'll get a chance to share with my testimony a little bit more as we get into the nuances of things and how I want to establish the conversation. Sometimes I'm going to invite people in down the road. I've actually talked to a couple different guys. My goal is to talk to people in the farms, people in the cities, and just sit down and have 30, 40, maybe an hour conversation. 30, not 30, 40 hours, 30 to 45 minutes to an hour, maybe a couple hours as the time grows. I don't know. Once again, this could turn out to be just a complete flop, or this could turn into be something that, I don't know. There's been some successful people out there that have done some amazing podcasts that are seeking truth out. I want to really focus on the personal side of this, though. To get raw and real. And you know what? There's going to be haters out in everything that we do. And this is not about sitting here pointing finger. I can't believe you believe that, or I can't believe you do that, or I think you're wrong, or I think, hey, I know I'm going to probably be wrong about some stuff. So let's be gracious when we tell people, hey, point out things. And vice versa. If I see something that I don't think is truth, I need to be gracious in pointing that out to that person. And so I'm going to do that to the best of my ability. I'm going to ask that you do the exact same thing as you listen to these podcasts. I'm going to try to do weekly podcast updates with different shorts throughout the week, just to kind of thing. And as we go, don't hesitate to drop a like and subscribe, or even a comment on something that has just been just bugging you up here, and you'd be like, hey, I'd like to know a little bit more about this. And maybe it's a topic we'll talk about. Faith, family, and life. Those are the kind of the three topics I really want to touch on in this harvesting truth. Once again, if you know the truth, it says in John that the truth will set you free. All right. Hey, y'all have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited for where we're going. And hit the subscribe button, and you'll get notifications of when I drop new videos or even shorts. And I am excited to go on this journey with you guys. And I hope you're excited as I am. And I can't wait to see what this will turn into. Have a great day, and God bless.
Switch it up.